welcome to another edition of the Suitcase Sessions podcast. I'm your host, Bob Bowman, and today I want to spend some time focused on what I consider to be one of the most resonant boxes to build a cigar box guitar from, and one whose namesake brings with it a very interesting history. Not only is it one of my favorite cigar boxes to build with, it also happens to deliver acoustically for playing on the porch or around a campfire. But before we go any further, I want to note that the cigar brand is one of the most iconic brands in the world. And while we're almost all focused on a cigar box from a builder's perspective, there are fascinating stories behind almost every brand of cigar they contain. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a brand that's instantly recognizable to aficionados everywhere. A box character with a story that's a bit more theatrical than you might think, and the reasons I think it happens to be the best box to build with. We're talking, of course, about the Punch cigar and the cheerful cigar-smoking Mr. Punch. The Punch brand has been around since 1840, when a German businessman known only by the name he entered as Stockman registered the brand itself. The company has, of course, changed ownership on multiple occasions over the last 180 years, and there are actually two brands of cigars under the Punch name. One that's produced in Cuba for the Habanos S.A., which is the Cuban state-owned tobacco company, and the other, which is produced in Honduras for the General Cigar Company. Based on information obtained from a variety of sources, to include SwissCubanCigars.com, Punch is one of the oldest Cuban brands in existence. The Punch brand story really takes off in earnest when Don Manuel Lopez Fernandez purchased the brand in 1884. Lopez capitalized on the increasing popularity of the cigar fad in England and the Punch character. Under his ownership, the company became an internationally recognized brand. Despite subsequent changes in ownership, his name remains on the brand itself. The cigars became a favorite of everyday cigar lovers in England and throughout Europe. And did you know? Winston Churchill is said to have enjoyed the occasional Punch cigar. In 1930, the Fernandez Palacio Ecija Company purchased Punch and also owned the Joya de Monterrey brand, which grew the English cigar market. During the 1950s, Fidel Castro was rising in power, and he nationalized the cigar industry and shut down many of the existing cigar operations. Punch was fortunately not one of them, but that nationalization required an entirely different Punch cigar that would need to be made outside of Cuba to ensure continued sales on the global market. Since the United States imposed a fairly strict trade embargo on Cuba, which restricted Cuban cigar sales in what was considered even then to be a lucrative American market, Cuban exiles created a non-Cuban cigar, which was grown and produced in Honduras when Villazon and Company purchased the rights to Punch in 1965. To appeal to British tastes, Stockman named his brand after Europe's most famous and beloved puppet character, Mr. Punch. Now, I know you've probably all seen Mr. Punch. He's that smiling jester, often holding a lit cigar surrounded by old-world imagery on the cover and inside of a punch box lid. And you'd be forgiven for assuming he was just a vintage mascot. He's a centuries-old puppet with a famously mischievous and often violent personality. Many people incorrectly believe the brand was named after the popular satirical magazine Punch, which was also highly successful in Britain at the time. However, the cigar brand was registered in 1840. That was a full year before the magazine was first published. And while the magazine's popularity certainly helped, it was in fact the puppet who was the original inspiration. The puppet show, a fixture at Britain's beaches and fairgrounds, featured Mr. Punch and his long-suffering wife, Judy. It was not the gentle children's entertainment we might imagine today. In the shows, Mr. Punch would often engage in slapstick, violent mischief, using his stick, or slapstick, on other characters. And of course, the brand's mascot, our version of Mr. Punch, is almost always depicted enjoying a cigar. A brilliant marketing move to link the fun-loving character with the cigar brand itself. The jovial Mr. Punch on the box, with his long, hooked nose and cheerful grin, serves as a fun and quirky reminder of this rich history. He's a bridge connecting a 19th century Cuban cigar brand to a centuries-old European puppet tradition. It's a testament to how the art of branding and a bit of good story can transcend time and borders. Now that you've learned a little bit more about the character on the box and this history of the box and brand, let's get back to why I believe the box makes for a fantastic cigar box guitar. My first cigar box guitar was a fretless slider made from the Punch Gran Puro box, which was made in Honduras. It's large and it's loud. The box I used and prefer is 7 inches wide by 10 inches long, and it's about 2¼ inches deep. It's made from wood and has a paper banding around its perimeter with a paper hinged lid and no latching. So it's perfect for either a neck through or, with some internal reinforcing, a bolt-on neck. The Punch logo is oval shaped and embossed in the center of the lid, making it easy to put any sized sound hole you like, either astride or directly behind the neck and fretboard where it meets the center of the lid. Where sound production is concerned, I can tell you I've made 3-string cigar box guitars with standard brass grommets for sound holes, and I even have an 8-string tenor ukulele with no sound holes at all, and both are loud without a pickup of any kind. For me, I tend to like boxes that aren't too ornate. The logo is able to be seen without being obscured by the bridge or the fretboard and pickup, and have a majority of the wood from the box exposed. Punch boxes certainly meet all my criteria, with the added benefit of sound volume. And for me, less is more, and the Punch box is perfect. So the next time you open a box of Punch cigars, take a second look at that cheerful jester staring back at you. He's not just a character on a logo. He's an artifact of cultural history dating back to the 1600s, a puppet who took a transatlantic journey to become the face of a legendary smoke. And as it happens, the Punch box is my favorite cigar box to build with. So as I offered in the beginning of this episode, if you're wanting a cigar box guitar to play around the campfire or on the front porch that's loud enough to enjoy without any additional amplification, I highly recommend the Punch box. I hope you found something interesting in this episode, whether it was in my thoughts on why I favor the box in my builds over others, the history of the cigar company brand itself, or the centuries-old history of the character behind the name. But if you're enjoying the content on the podcast, don't forget to subscribe and listen in each week as we explore the world of cigar box guitars and all things related to it. And remember, no matter which box you choose, there are no rules. Just keep playing, and we'll catch up later, somewhere down the road.